Hi, it's Kevin Jordan here with another episode of the Small Business Marketing Minute Show. It's a show that gives small business owners like you simple, affordable, and above all, practical tips for growing your business and teaches you the famous duct tape marketing system. I'm pleased to have as my guest on the show today, Justin Sturgis from Systematic. Justin is a fellow duct tape marketing consultant from Sacramento, California, and he's also an expert when it comes to helping local businesses with search engine optimization, which is our theme for the week on the show. Justin recently published an infographic that explains how to optimize your small business website for local search better than anything else I've ever seen, and I recently interviewed him about that infographic. I posted the infographic on the blog post for this episode, so you'll definitely want to head over to my site at redpointmarketingconsultants.com and download that infographic. Let's hear what Justin has to say. Thanks for coming on the show, Justin.
Thanks, Kevin. I really appreciate the invite.
All right, so why don't you start by telling us just a little bit about what led you to create this amazing infographic that we're looking at?
Well, basically the local business world, local business owners don't have the time to really dig into SEO, and I have for 10 years, and there's just so much confusion and lack of understanding out there. So my hope was to help a small business owner really understand what they need to do, and maybe it can help drive their engagement with a web designer or something like that to get the right pieces included in their website.
Okay, why don't you just walk us through some of the main points that you're really trying to drive home by putting this together?
Yeah, I think one of the kind of little tricky tactics, which is absolutely okay as far as the Google guidelines that a lot of people miss, is really tying in your keywords into the header or top section of a website. I've put in there's what I'm calling kind of a keyword block at the top of a page, or even with your tagline next to the logo, or even that H1 that's right there below the menu. Those kinds of little on-page tactics can really help get your site dialed in with Google for your prime keywords.
Okay, and by the way, I love the fact that at the bottom of this infographic, you provide references for all this information, so it's not just coming from you. You show exactly where you found it, or what source you're using. So I think that part at the bottom of the infographic alone is worth its weight in gold, just as a source where people can go to find out more about all this information.
Yeah, absolutely. It's why would someone just believe someone who's kind of spouting off about this stuff? So this is just an example of different posts that I've used, ideas that we've incorporated in our own work. So I figured, let's go ahead and point to some of these guys, and most of them are absolute leaders in their industry, if it's local or some other kind of SEO. So I figured that would be really helpful for folks to understand kind of where we're coming from. And the only reason I included things that were in this infographic as well are things that I have seen actually work. So I got the ideas from some of these great people online, kind of stood on the shoulders of geniuses, so to speak, and then implemented it and have seen it work. Not just for 6 months or a year, but we've had sites that are using some of these tactics that have been ranking for years and years and years, no matter what Panda or whatever adjustments Google makes. These are tried and true long-term tactics.
Right, right. So let's say someone takes a look at this infographic and wants to kind of get started doing some of this stuff. Where would you recommend that they start? I mean, if they haven't really done any SEO up to this point, where would you recommend that they start?
Yeah, absolutely. For local sites, especially if you're just getting started, one of the most important things you can do is really go and at least use Google Keyword Planner, which is a free keyword tool, and learn how to use it a little bit and start to figure out what are some keywords that we may be able to rank for that are really related to our business, that have some amount of traffic locally, and then figure out kind of how to strategize your site. So your home page would be going at the the most competitive sort of overarching keyword, and then your service pages would break that down into a little bit more targeted keywords, and then breaking that out further into more long tail terms in your blog and that kind of thing. So really doing some keyword research and then kind of reverse engineering your site in a sense to address those keywords. If you don't do that, you're really not going to get found.
Okay. And let's say that somebody takes a look at your infographic, listens to this episode of the podcast, and realizes that they really need to do this stuff, but they don't even want to touch it. They just want to have somebody do it all for them. Where can they go to find out more about how you can help them with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our site Systematics, systemadik.com is the home for kind of this arm of our business, which is basically helping local businesses build a more powerful local website more efficiently. And what we've done is basically all the stuff you see here, we've basically kind of lifted the kimono and shown you what to do, but we've also implemented all these things in kind of our own custom WordPress solution. So all these pieces, the functionality is there. Then what we would do is talk with the client and customize it, look and feel, brand, that kind of thing for them. So that's where you would access and start to engage with us if you're interested in doing that kind of thing.
Great. And for those of you listening to the audio version of the podcast, if you go to the show notes or the blog post for this episode, I'll have a link to Justin's site, and you can check him out. I use him for all my clients when they need a website. He does great work, and he'll be a good resource for you. Thanks for your time, Justin, and thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin.
Many thanks to Justin for creating that infographic and for coming on the show to explain it to us. If you want to find out more about his company, Systematic, just go to the blog post for this episode on my site and follow the link. And that my site is redpointmarketingconsultants.com. That's all I've got for today's episode, but be sure and tune in on Monday for another week's worth of simple, affordable, and practical tips on the Marketing Minute Show. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend. If you own or manage a small business and occasionally find marketing frustrating or difficult, I've got an opportunity for you that you won't want to miss. Join me for a free 1-hour webinar entitled 7 Steps to Small Business Marketing Success, in which I'll teach you the famous duct tape marketing system. I guarantee that this webinar will change the way you look at marketing and that you will walk away with ideas that you can take action on immediately to improve your results and grow your business. Visit redpointmarketingconsultants.com/webinar to register for the next available date.